Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Wednesday, October 18th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, ready to break down the Wednesday slate. As usual, a very quiet, calm, light Wednesday slate. We have two games, including the TNT Wednesday night matchup, which is the Penguins and the Red Wings. Before we get into that, let's talk about a really entertaining Tuesday night in the NHL. Of course, a big slate last night in NHL action. A lot of games, a lot of interesting results. And a lot of bad blood, and I loved it. I loved every single second of it, in fact, last night. It had to have been, for a single night of NHL action, the most fights, the most fisticuffs I've seen on a given night in the NHL. I mean, and that's look, people say fighting is dead. Clearly it isn't in the NHL, at least not in the NHL just yet. I mean, you had a couple of fights in the Minnesota-Montreal game. There's a fight in the Tampa Bay-Buffalo game. We saw Edmonton-Nashville. There was a fight. LA-Winnipeg there was. Colorado-Seattle. Some playoff storylines carrying over with Jordan Eberle and Logan O'Connor kind of answering the bell for what happened in the playoff series last year. We saw multiple fights and multiple really good fights too in that Dallas-Vegas game last night as well. So I love it. Bring it on. Keep it coming is what I say. And it was all really good stuff. It was just heat of the moment stuff, and in the case of the Seattle-Colorado fight with Eberle and O'Connor, it was, settling a score, if you will, from last year. And then as, the ESPN folks said at the intermission, PK and Mark Messier, was taken care of and you move on, and that's exactly the way it should be with those. If you have a beef with someone for, taking a run at somebody from a previous game or previous, in that case, playoff series, you answer the bell on the ice, drop your gloves, get it over with, and then everybody can move on. And that's exactly what we saw, certainly in that case with O'Connor and Eberle. Philadelphia, 2-0 shutout in their home opener. On retrospect, I was on the Canucks there in that game, but in retrospect, I was thinking, home opener, not the greatest spot probably to go against the Flyers. You figured they'd be fired up for it. Like I say, even these teams that we don't expect much from this season, they want to play well in that first home game. Look at the way Anaheim played, for instance, Sunday night against Carolina. And there's other examples, but home opener got a really good effort from Philly. They dominated that game. I understand why Rick Tocchet wasn't very happy after that game with his team. Really, Demko is the only player that really stepped up and showed up last night for the Vancouver Canucks. So a very good 2-0 shutout for Philly. Minnesota bounces back, 5-2 win over Montreal. Great call from Alex with the Wild in regulation there. Marc-Andre Fleury solid. The big guns step up. Kaprizov, I said he'd finally score his first goal last night. He did that. And a nice workmanlike road win for Minnesota, 5-2. Islanders in a very dull game. I watched some of it, and I could only take 20 seconds of that hockey game. And I was really focusing on other games. But a 1-0 shutout win. I mean, that's exactly what the Islanders want. That's their blueprint to success this year. 1-0, 2-1, 3-2 type of wins. And they were able to get one of those last night against Arizona. Sabres, just like their football team, the Bills, heart attack waiting to happen sometimes. But the Buffalo Sabres find a way. I mean, it looked like things were going off the rails. Unfortunate turn of events, giving up the tying goal with 7 seconds left in the third period to Brandon Hagel. But Dylan Cousins with a bullet shot, man. It was right off the post and in. Perfect. No chance for Johansson to make that save, and the Sabres get a 3-2 overtime win. Not pretty. What was disappointing for me on the night is that I had a pretty much break-even night with sides and totals, even though a lot of my sides and totals won. And the reason for that is because this is the game I went a little bigger on with Buffalo team total, which I was looking good at 2-0 in the first period, and they kind of parked the bus. And I've noticed that now with Buffalo. They are really trying to tidy things up in their own zone. And of course, you bring in Eric Johnson and Connor Clifton, you're hoping those kind of additions help you. And, they really weren't looking to pile on the score. They were looking to defend once they got up 2-0. And that really is the reason why that game ended up staying at that score for as long as it did until, and only when Tampa, made it 2-1 did we finally start to see some flow again in that game. But Buffalo gets a much needed win 3-2. And like we've said, Alex and I, if you're going to get Tampa, now's the time to get Tampa Bay, because clearly they've got issues. Great job by Edmonton. Talk about answering the bell. They did 2 very dismal performances against Vancouver, and they bounced back and they thumped Nashville 6-1. Pretty much a beat down from start to finish. They chased UC Saros from the net. Leon Draisaitl, first goal, 10-1 cashes, and we talked about his just dominance over Nashville. I mean, if you're a Predators fan, a Predators player, a Predators coach, a Predators GM, you got nightmares about this guy every time you play Edmonton at this point, because he has just absolutely done just run amok over the Nashville Predators. He did that again last night with a 2-goal performance. 5-1 LA. I like the Kings in that spot, and they got the job done. The best game for sure for Cam Talbot. No question. Much, much better game from Cam Talbot. Pierre-Luc Dubois, the old revenge angle works there. He gets a goal against his former team. Very, very disheartening to see Gabe Vilardi injured, and selfish reasons, very disheartening because the props basically died quickly with his injury, and he didn't come back in that game. So he didn't get a chance to get on the fun of trying to produce against his former team because of the injury, which forced him out of the game. So a 5-1 win for LA, much better defensive game. And again, Talbot was much better in net. And sometimes when you lose 2 at home, you go on the road, that's a good time to bet on a team. And we saw that from the Kings last night. Colorado 4-1 against the still struggling, offensively challenged Seattle Kraken. Man, this offense is just dead right now for Seattle. They had their chances. They had over 30 shots on goal. And look, Georgiev was outstanding for the Avalanche. Once again, he's the main reason they won. Seattle outplayed Colorado, but it doesn't matter if you can't put the puck in the net. Colorado finished the fewer amount of chances that they got, and that was the difference in a 4-1 win there. Carolina 6-3 against San Jose, and the floodgates open for Carolina in the third period. I'll tip my cap to Mackenzie Blackwood, Alex. He was excellent in the Colorado game, obviously. He was very good in the first 2 periods last night, but you can only go so long playing above your head, and eventually the floodgates are going to open a little bit against you, and that's exactly what happened. And as I said on X, after Carolina made it 6-3, and they got those bing, 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 those 4 goals in a row in the third period to turn a 3-2 deficit into a 6-3 win for the Hurricanes. I said Mackenzie Blackwood finally realizing he isn't Patrick Waugh, Marty Brodeur, Bernie Parent, Ken Dryden, Dominic Hasek, or Grant Fuhr, but rather that he is indeed Mackenzie Blackwood. So there you go. And we saw that in the third period last night, coming back down to earth in a big way. And the last game was a great game, great hockey game. Even though I was disappointed, we fell a little short of the over there in that Dallas-Vegas game. It was a terrific game, and very disappointed Dallas couldn't hold on to the lead as well. What a swing to end the night. It would have been a really good profit on the night had Dallas and the over come through. Instead, Vegas ties it late, and they win in a shootout. Great goaltending from both Hill and Ottinger. It's a shame one of them had to lose. That was a great game for Ottinger. I know they lost in a shootout, but he looked terrific. And that's a good sign for the Dallas Stars. Rope Hintz came back. It looks like he's going to need a game or two to get really ramped up. But no, it was a good hockey game. Couple of fights, a lot of bad blood, a lot of scrums after the whistle, which you'd expect from teams that met in the Western Conference Final last season. So Vegas, I mean, I said this, hot take city, maybe, Alex, that I put this on Twitter, but they got a real chance to repeat. They really, really do. I'm seeing them with these, no Martinez, no Pietrangelo, no White Cloud, and here's Caden Korchak, a young blue liner. He just steps in. All he does is have a 2-point night and get his first NHL goal last night for the Vegas Golden. It's unbelievable. The embarrassment of riches at depth on the blue line, depth up front, all 4 lines make an impact. Bruce Cassidy and the Knights have a very good thing going on. Alex, your thoughts on the slate from Tuesday?
Yeah, we'll just start with that. I mean, that was a fantastic game to watch, and you knew it would be a tough battle. I thought we were going to see things open up a little bit more. I thought, they said, with the physicality, things kind of spilling over from last year with the playoffs. I thought we would see a lot more penalties, a lot more power play opportunities. No, they still played a very clean game despite both being physical. Like I said, settling scores that needed to be settled at times, but just a fantastic hockey game. And yeah, like I said, it's a shame whenever you see these two teams that one of them has to lose, because they seem to really get up and gear up for each other now, and that might turn into a bit of a rivalry moving forward, especially if they end up meeting again in a postseason next year. That those kind of things tend to breed some really quality rivalries. And I know going back to when Vegas first started, everybody was trying to naturally pair them with LA, Kings and Knights, and the whole LA Vegas thing. And that just didn't have that feel, even though they're division rivals. But now it seems like they might have actually found a real rival in the league. So that's always good to see. And like you mentioned, even with the games like Buffalo and Tampa and Seattle and Colorado, seeing physicality in those games, yeah, those mean something. Like I said, playoff revenge, division rivals. Tampa Bay has been the king of the Atlantic for years, and now Buffalo's trying to just get a piece of it and get into the door and get into the playoffs. So we're seeing that unveil in real life on the ice, and it's fantastic. It makes for exciting hockey. That's why we're all fans of the sport. So it's a beautiful thing to see. Plays wise, it was a bit rough for me yesterday. Did hit with the bargain bin winner on Tuvo Teravainen plus 350 to get the power play point. Got that early in the contest, and that was a weird game because, like you mentioned, we were waiting for Blackwood to fall. I had a series of live wagers on the family plan. I was essentially looking for the Sharks to take a lead so I could come back and grab Carolina money line, Carolina score next goal. I ended up having to do that much later than anticipated. The game ended up being tied at 2, and then I was able to grab a 3-2 Sharks lead, grab Carolina money line. Wasn't able to post it out, but I did grab that, and Carolina comes back to win with 4 unanswered goals. And that's just something we have to kind of look at with a lot of these bottom feeder teams, right? Your Anaheims, your Phillies, your Columbuses, your San Jose's of the world. They will be competitive early, but you also have to just kind of factor in that if they are getting dominated in the stat sheet early, but the score doesn't reflect it, you just got to hang on and wait. And no team proves that more than Carolina. We've seen Carolina lose how many games where they've literally outshot opponents by almost a 2-1 margin. Just against the Rangers alone over the years, that was a high increase. But now just against any teams in the league. But Carolina hangs on the win, and now they have an incredible record. We talk about this all the time with cross-conference play. They're now 9-1-2 their last 12 games playing in the state of California. So that's something to keep a note of whenever you see. We talk about fading teams that go away or go West Coast or going far on the East Coast trips. Carolina is not one of those teams. That's a team that you actually want to look to back. They get some kind of mojo when they're out in the Golden State.
Yes, they do, and boy, I'll tell you what, that was something to see, because Carolina, last night and down 3-2, and Blackwood was playing another really good game. Then all of a sudden, 4 goals, just like that, in rapid fire succession, and it completely changed that game around. I did retweet someone posting the leaders, by the way, of the goals saved above average, expected, goals saved above expected. Some people call it that. I call it GSAA, goals saved above average, but it's the same thing. And I was stunned, and I know Alex is, because he hasn't been a big fan of this guy, and he's a goalie on his own team. Arvids Soderblom here, 6.18 goals saved above average, number 1 in the NHL. Now, a very small sample size. We do have to keep that in mind. Right. That's this season's numbers. We're only a week into the season. We can't be giving him the Vezina Trophy right now on October 18th. But he's been much better, certainly, than I or Alex thought. And to see him actually atop that list, I'm not surprised Aiden Hill is number 2. Aiden Hill's been terrific already this year. He was great again last night. 5.32 goals saved above average. Alexander Georgiev for Colorado being 3rd at 5.29 goals saved above average. Doesn't surprise me. He's the reason that Colorado won last night, because Seattle outplayed them. Jacob Markstrom, 4.36 goals saved above average. That's very surprising. But Jacob Markstrom for Calgary off to a reasonably good start. Thatcher Demko is another person on this list that doesn't surprise me. He's really the only reason it wasn't 8-0 for Philadelphia yesterday. Demko at 3.68 goals saved above average. Then we have Binnington, Jari, who of course is in action tonight with the Pittsburgh Penguins, Elvis Merzlikins, Casey DeSmith, another Vancouver goalie, although it's just based on 1 start, and Jake Ottinger at 2.6. Not surprising. Jake's had a good start in his first 2 games. So, But that is the big surprise. Arvid Soderblom here, Alex, number one
Yeah.
goal saved above average.
And I feel like I sometimes have to preface this, maybe once or twice in a season, because I can ride on some goalies pretty hard. And of course, like I said, it's nothing personal. It's just based on what I'm seeing. What I've seen so far up until before the beginning of the season, and even the preseason, was that Soderblom didn't look good. He was having trouble seeing the puck. If you watch any of the goals that he gave up in the preseason, or a bunch of them last year, you see him sticking his glove out and just kind of holding his glove out there after the goal pass, or his blocker out, because you can just tell his body language and reaction to see, oh, I didn't see that puck. I didn't see that puck. And that's a problem. Now, could that also be because he has some terrible blue liners in front of him? Most definitely. And he's still a young guy. I was quick to try to write off Philip Gustafson. What did he do last year? Emerge as one of the top goaltenders in the entire league, and now looks like he could be someone who can hang around in this league for a while. So if Soderblom makes me eat my words and turns into a formidable goalie, hey, I'm super fucking happy, because not only does it mean he's playing well, and he's playing well for the Hawks. So yes, keep proving me wrong, Arvid. I would love to see that. I just don't really know if that's going to hold up the entire season.
Oh, exactly. That's going to end up being the big question here. Is that going to be something that is sustainable? Is he going to be is a goalie that can keep this going for, like, it's nice to have this 1 week terrific stretch here and just a very small sample size, but can he keep it going for a full season? I think if he has this good season or a bounce back year, and if he can maintain this to some degree moving forward, I think you also have to give some praise to Jimmy Waite here. Obviously, goalie coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, working with him. That's probably helping him out too. Like I say, it's just it was something very interesting to see this early in the season, that he was right up there as far as the GSAA numbers, currently tops in the NHL. All right, let's turn our attention to the card. It's just a short card tonight, 2 games, and we will begin in the nation's capital of Canada, I should say, where it's the U.S. nation's capital, the Washington Capitals, taking on the Canadian nation's capital, the Ottawa Senators. It is Ottawa in the -175 to -180 range as home favorites in this game, and the total 6.5 pretty much across the board in this one. Washington Capitals, do not be fooled by that win against Calgary on Monday night in the shootout. Calgary swarmed them. Calgary had 40 shots on goal. Calgary had the advantage in expected goals by a significant margin. And Calgary ran into a familiar problem they had much of last year. Couldn't finish, couldn't bury enough of their chances, and they were getting quality chances in that hockey game. And Washington just did a little bit better job doing so. And the thing, too, with Calgary is they outshot Washington 17-3 in the first period and had that 2-0 lead. And we always say that 2-goal lead is never safe. 3-0 before 2-1 is critical in hockey. You put a team down 3-0 and don't let it get to 2-1, you're in a much better shape. I'd love to see the difference in expected win percentage for a game that goes from 3-0, it goes to 3-0, and a game that goes to 2-1. For a team that's up 2-0, I'd love to see the difference, because it's probably it should be a significant difference, because that 3-0 lead really puts a team behind the 8 ball. But unfortunately, Washington got that first goal. As the former member of the Calgary organization, Matthew Phillips, it was one of our phenomenal bargain bin calls the other night. He scores the first goal for Washington to make it 2-1, and they ended up coming back and winning in a shootout. Again, Calgary, not the greatest team you want to trust in a shootout, and they showed it again on Monday night. But don't be fooled. Washington has not looked good, and they're very fortunate to be 1-1. I mean, they've been outshot 75-42 so far this season in the 2 games against Pittsburgh and Calgary. It has not been good for Washington. And I think I didn't come away from that comeback win against Calgary and say, wow, that's a great comeback. Washington's all right now. Everything's fine. Everything's good. No worries with Washington. They're all right. They're on the right track. I didn't come away from that Calgary win thinking that way. I came away from that saying, you know what, that was another rough game, and they were fortunate Calgary just didn't finish enough of their chances, or else it could have been different. Ottawa on the flip side, they're on this homestand. I believe it's a 5-game homestand. This is the 3rd game of it. They're off to a good start, 2 wins against both the Flyers and the Lightning. over the weekend. We'll see if they can keep the good vibes going here. I like what I'm seeing offensively from the Senators, who've got 13 goals in the first 3 games this season. It's been impressive to see. Brady Tkachuk has been every bit the captain and leading by example that you're hoping for. 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 points in the first 3 games. Jake Chychrun from the blue line has 4 points in the first 3 games, including a pair of goals. Even Tarasenko, 4 points off to a good start with his new team. It's been impressive to see those 3 players in particular get off to solid starts for the Ottawa Senators. Their power play so far this season has been pretty solid as well. And we'll see if they can carry that forward here against the Washington Capitals here tonight. It looks like as far as the goaltending goes, I don't believe last I checked we had confirmation. We've got projections of Forsberg potentially in net for Ottawa and Darcy Kemper for Washington, but neither of those 2 things are confirmed. As far as my side and total looks in this game, this is going to be three bets on Ottawa, 3 different types of bets, but I'm going to go pretty much evenly with all 3 of them. I'm going to go with the Senators in the first period on the puck line here in this game. One thing we have seen from Washington, Pittsburgh, and the Calgary game, bad starts, not ready to go from the opening puck drop. That is something you have to really be weary of here. And you can get a nice minus or plus 145 with Ottawa first period puck line, minus a half a goal. I like that quite a bit. Again, Washington off to these slow starts in each of their first 2 games of the season. I'm also on Ottawa team total. It's been a nice little run here with that bet in particular. Cashed with it against Philadelphia on Saturday. Cashed again with it on Sunday against Tampa Bay. And we're going to come back to that as well. Over 3.5 at minus 116 for the Ottawa Senators team total. And then a little smaller bet on the regulation for Ottawa here in this game. Ottawa in regulation, which you'll be able to get around even money. I like Ottawa. I like a lot of what I've seen from them. Thomas Chabot is healthy and playing well. And this Jake Sanderson guy, who I said coming into the season, wow, that's a lot of money to be giving him off one really good season. But boy, he's living up to it. He is living up to get that money that he got so far. We talk about poised with the puck, making the right play, not turning it over, never caught out of position defensively, or rarely caught out of position defensively in his own zone. Been very, very impressed with Jake Sanderson, playing way above his years, playing like a 10-year veteran on the blue line for the Ottawa Senators. So I'm going to split it evenly between those 3 bets, although I'll keep the regulation bet a little smaller. Ottawa first period minus a half, plus 145, and also Ottawa team total over 3.5, minus 116. I like some props. I'll mention those in a bit. Alex, what do you think here, Washington, Ottawa?
Yeah, I mean, the books have really, caught on to the fact that Washington's not that good, and you could tell just off of this series. Just looking back at the series history, Capitals had dominated in previous meetings, going all the way back to 2015, and you're seeing them laying high prices, 180, 170, then the 2s and the 3s. Of course, when Ottawa was a pretty bad team. Now Ottawa's won 3 of the last 4 meetings. They've also been going to overtime and a couple of those as well. 3 of the last 5 have actually gone past regulation. So this is a game I might look to sprinkle a little bit on the draw. 350. I would really want to have a higher price here because I think this is a pretty fair a line assessment. I think Ottawa's way better than Washington. I think Washington's pretty low. But that doesn't always mean that Ottawa's just going to come out and play guns blazing. This could be a tighter start. Like you said, Washington, we know they come off the slow starts. But I just kind of worry about Ottawa with this, getting a start off super duper fast. I do like the first period puck line with Ottawa. That's the only kind of value I think I could find, because even laying $1.10, $1.15, that is the prices I'm seeing for Ottawa regulation, I'm not really comfortable with that. And then on a shorter card, I'm not going to really try and force anything. So nothing official here. If I had to look for something, like I said, I kind of want to see just do we also have a goalie confirmation, by the way, for Washington? I don't think we have.
I have not seen any yet. I've seen projections of Kemper versus Forsberg.
That's what I've seen too. So yeah. So this is more than likely going to be a pass, but this could be something that I end up playing live a little bit closer to puck drop.
Yeah. And to me, there's not a huge drop off or downgrade or upgrade with Forsberg and Korpisalo, because I've been impressed with Forsberg, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Last year or so, like before he got injured last year, he was playing well. So keep that in mind.
And that's what I was worried about too. I wanted to see how he was doing in the first few starts. He came off of double knee reconstruction. That's not something you hear of too often in any
No.
kind of sport. And to come back this fast, that was less than a year, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. I think he got hurt around like maybe close to Christmas time. So that's just incredible, that the fact that he's even back and playing. So to see that he's in more than decent form, that's a huge boost for Ottawa goaltending wise. There is a player prop I will talk about later on in this game. So that's my tease later on with the bargain bet of the night.
Yeah, I lean full game over, but I think Ottawa's going to do more of the scoring. If anyone was interested in the 6.5, I mean, I would lean over. I mean, if you're Ottawa home games, man, this goes back to last year. I mean, 13-2 to the over in their last 15 home games. The Ottawa Senators, they've been over machines here at in their home building, going back to last season. So we'll see if they can keep it going here with as far as their games trending over at home. As far as props go for this game, there's definitely some good options that are available. I'm not going to overthink it or overcomplicate it. I think if you're betting Ottawa like I am tonight and you're looking for some props in this game, you take Brady Tkachuk. You take Brady Tkachuk. He's feeling it right now. There's no question. He's off to this magnificent start, plus 130 to get a goal in this game for the Ottawa Senators. You could go plus 135 to get an assist. I'm starting to do that lately, by the way. With a player that I think is going to play well, with the point prop being like minus 200 like it is for Tkachuk, why don't you just split it up and bet him to score a goal and get an assist? That's the same thing as basically covering you betting him to score a point. So that, and that's what you can do. And by the way, if you're going to, why would you lay minus 200? Think of this from a math perspective. Why would you take Brady Tkachuk to get a point minus 200? You can take him at plus 130 to get a goal. You can get him at plus 135 to get an assist. And if even just one of those hits, which means he gets a point, you're profitable.
Yep.
You're profitable. I mean, so that is the way to approach it, in my opinion, when you're talking about Brady Tkachuk and McKinnon and Crosby, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and some of these players that, where their point prop is juiced to the minus 180 to minus 200 type range, you can just bet them goal and assist prop separately. If they get one of either a goal or an assist, you're profitable. And hell, if they get a goal and an assist, then you're really looking good with those two bets. So that's a good approach. Oh, you're muted.
That's a perfect approach, and especially with that example. Rather than taking 2 units to lay on just one of anything to happen, you can split that. You don't even have to put 1 unit on each. You can go a half a unit on each of them individually at plus prices and still secure a profit. So you're minimizing risk and maximizing profit. That's as good as it gets.
That's good. Absolutely right. 100% right. And by the way, I have 4 goals, 1 assist. So I would maybe, shade more toward the goal prop on Tkachuk. But definitely he is capable of facilitating as well. Jake Chychrun, I mean, I've talked about this. There was that one game, the one game I jumped on it. He didn't get a point, but then I jumped on it again, I believe, against Tampa, and he got on the score sheet there. A plus 105 for Jacob Chychrun to get a point. He actually does have 2 goals. I mean, that's a little riskier because he's a defenseman. You're not sure he's going to score he's probably not going to score every night for you, but he is plus 600 at Caesars to get a goal, plus 150 to get an assist. So if you do the goal and an assist split in that with Chychrun, it's a little risky because you don't expect him to score every night. The point prop on its own is plus 105. See, this is one where I would take the point prop on Chychrun because it's just plus 105. But again, when you're talking about, like I say, Brady Tkachuk, you can take goal and an assist. You'd rather take a bet with each of those and split it up. Hope you go 1-1 or better rather than lay that crazy price with Tkachuk to get a point, which is like minus 225 at FanDuel. You don't want to be laying that with Brady Tkachuk to get a point. It's been a slow start for OV. His chase of Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal scoring record is grinded to a halt a little bit here early this season, but it's inevitable he's eventually going to get on the board. Plus 140, not bad. In fact, the price is getting a little better on Ovechkin to score, I think, because of this little funk that he's been in early this season. We have another case, by the way, of Leon Draisaitl dominating a particular, and by the way, Ovechkin's done very well against Ottawa head-to-head, so that's another reason why he might finally get his first goal tonight. And we've got another Draisaitl case where, I talked about how he had dominated the Nashville Predators. You could say that about Drake Batherson for Ottawa against Washington. For some reason, Drake Batherson has really, really had a lot of success in his career against the Washington Capitals. What is it? 6 goals in 7 games against Washington. Pretty impressive for him. We'll have to wait and see on that. And plus, Ottawa is getting Josh Norris back here tonight, which is such a huge boost for them offensively. So now you're going to have, it looks like, Kachuk, Stützle, Giroux, top line. Matthew Joseph, by the way, there's a prop. Is you're talking about those instances where you've got someone moving up the lineup, plus 500 sprinkle on him to score a goal. Matthew Joseph, he's playing on the second line now. DJ Smith giving him a bump up the lineup because he's played well for Ottawa early in the season, playing with Ridley Gregg and Vladimir Tarasenko. It looks like Batherson is going to be with Norris and Kubalik here in this game tonight. And also Batherson always plays on the number 1 power play unit as well. Drake Batherson here, goal prop plus 220 at Caesars. So this is someone that has really found the back of the net at a high rate against Washington in his career. So definitely Drake Batherson, someone to keep an eye on. Assist prop for him too, plus 150. Let me see what he's got as far as assists go this year. Batherson. No. And it's funny, he doesn't have a point this year. Blanks through the first 3 games. No goals, no assists for Batherson, but he does have that really good track record against the Washington Capitals. Kind of like we saw last night with Draisaitl against the Predators. So that's why I think it's still worth a look. Normally, I don't like player props with a guy that's not in form at the time going into the game, but might make an exception there as far as Batherson is concerned. And for Washington, look, I hit the jackpot with Matthew Phillips. It was, the situation dictated it as well. No question about that with playing his old team, but he is on the second power play unit, and he's being noticeable out there. He's getting chances, he's getting opportunities, and Caesars has plus 675. Now, I don't like it as much because it's not like he's not got that extra element of that motivational factor working for him like it was against Calgary, his old team. But I'm telling you, plus 675, couple bucks. I wouldn't say no. That guy has talent. That guy can finish. That guy's got goal scoring ability for the Washington Capitals. So not a bad option there as well for the Capitals tonight. All right, that is not Montreal, Minnesota. We're moving on to Pittsburgh and Detroit. The last game of this Wednesday card, we've got Pittsburgh minus 125 favorites here in the Motor City, and the total sitting at 6.5 here across the board. This Pittsburgh team is one that I wasn't overly fond of coming into this season. I will admit that. I wasn't expecting all kinds of great, results from them. I didn't trust their blue line necessarily, but the results are the results. They're 2-1. They've only given up 4 goals in the 3 games combined. Did I evaluate their blue line incorrectly? I'm not so sure yet. I'm not ready to say that just yet. It is worth noting they played Chicago so far this season, who have been actually trending more unders this year. Washington, not a team that offensively is up there like they used to be. Calgary has issues finishing sometimes. They did last year, and they did in their last 2 games as well against Washington and Pittsburgh. So the jury's out for me still on the Penguins blue line. I still look at this roster, this personnel that they have back there, and with a lot of defensive warts, defensive liabilities there with Letang, Carlson, Pierre-Olivier Joseph and Chad Ruedels, a middling third pair. I like Ryan Graves, but again, he's being asked to do a lot on that top pair. I've still got to see more and more what develops with this Pittsburgh blue line, especially as they play some better offensive competition. They're very good offensively, or have the potential to be. Of course, Crosby has been sensational here early in the season for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Got to give him a lot of credit. This is someone that, basically begged the front office to go after it and let's make one more playoff run. Let's make one more Stanley Cup run. Well, if you're the captain and you the old elder statesmen like him and Malkin and Letang want to make this run, well, you better damn well show up and play well during the season to help your cause. Crosby's doing that. 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points. How about Malkin? Terrific start. Not only healthy, but really playing well. 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points for Evgeny Malkin coming into this game tonight. 6 points as well for Jake Gensel, 1 goal, 5 assists. Rust has been finding the back of the net, 3 goals in 3 games for him. Riley Smith, a nice addition, of course, from the Stanley Cup champ Vegas Golden Knights, 2 goals, 1 assist, and 3 points for him so far this year. So offensively, they've got a good roster. The jury is still out for me defensively. Their defensive numbers have been good so far, and a lot of it's been Jari. Jari, again, on that goals saved above average top 10 list to begin the season. Will he maintain that, though, for the course of the season is going to be the big question. Jari is in net tonight for the Penguins. It'll be Ville Husso for Detroit. And Detroit's kind of in the same kettle of fish for me, here against the Penguins, where I don't love their blue line necessarily. They shut out Columbus, credit to them. And James Reimer had actually a really good night. James Reimer was really good. I got to give him credit. That was a very good performance from him. But I still see Gostis Bear and Justin Hall and Ole Mata's in and out with injuries. He's another guy that can't stay healthy. I like Seider, but there's some question marks about the defensive ability. I will say this. I don't think it's a coincidence that they take Jeff Petrie out of the lineup, and then the first game without him, they shut out a team. Jeff Petrie's got some issues in his own end. We've seen it now for a couple of years. They took him out. They put Mata in against Columbus, and that's when they notched that 4-0 shutout against the Jackets. So, this is another blue line where it surprised me, how they played, especially the other night before that. They were giving up goals. New Jersey scored 4. Tampa was able to score against them. But again, they took out Petrie, and all of a sudden, they shut out Columbus. Can they do that here against Pittsburgh? That remains to be seen. This game is one that it's tricky for me. I have a small over bet here just because of the series history has dictated that 4 of the last 5 meetings between the Penguins and the Red Wings have gone over the total. And we have seen some Pittsburgh's won 3 of the last 5, and a couple of them, there's been some weird scores here. I mean, Pittsburgh beat them 11-2, a couple of years ago, and then 7-2 a couple of years ago. And last year it was much more competitive. Actually, Detroit beat Pittsburgh 2-3 last year, including 7-4 at home. They had a 5-4 win in Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh got them right at the end of the season, 5-1. At the end of the season. So, but again, 4 of the last 5 meetings have gone over the total. Detroit had gone over in every game until the Columbus game. That's a data point that for me, Columbus with the Werenski injury, I don't think they were able to move the puck as well out of their own zone. I'm willing to take a shot on the over. Don't love it, but I'm going to take a shot here on over 6.5 here with Pittsburgh, Detroit. Really nothing on the side. Not really enamored to back either of these teams in this spot. I think a slight lean, if I had to, would be Detroit plus 105. I'd take Detroit plus 105 before I take Pittsburgh, laying a price on the road.
Yeah.
But nothing I'm overly excited about. Alex, what do you think here? TNT, Wednesday night, Pittsburgh, Detroit.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. If you look back, that 5-4 Detroit win last year, that came on Tuesday night. We were on the betcast doing that. Pittsburgh jumped out to a 4-0 lead, and a bunch of us started hammering Detroit next goal. I think some people got Detroit money line, and they ended up coming back and winning that game. So that was one of those interesting moments, and I can't wait for the live betcast. Those will be coming up starting next week. But with here tonight, the biggest thing I'm looking at here is the first period over. 12-4 the last 16 meetings. Right now we're seeing some higher numbers with this. You're laying either $1.60, 65 with the 1.5. A couple of books have a 2 hanging at plus 110. So this is a classic wait and play this live spot. I'm circling anything that's down to $1.15 or better in this spot. And it's funny, we talk about in football and basketball and things how we, especially college, we don't really like to bet a lot of the TV marquee games. Well, in the NHL, the lines don't move or vary much because the game's on national television or not. And they don't really do a lot of different things with how the live lines move in games that are nationally televised. That's completely different from what you see with a college football, pro football live line. That's something I'm going to elaborate more into when I do my article on Patreon next week. But this is one of those games where turn the TV on, sit there, no distractions, get the phone and the laptop ready and try to hammer this first period over. I think we're going to see a bunch of goals here. So I actually like that live full game over as well. 6.5, like I said, a bit steep. I think we'll be able to at least get a better number, a plus number, or even a 5.5 at a better adjusted number. So great live game. Should be a lot of fun to watch. And like I said, Pittsburgh, still trying to get in the form, right? Like, I mean, there's still a lot of the core veterans, but I think they're still just trying to gel and really get into a groove. And we know that takes some time with them. They don't have the smooth October starts that you see with some other teams. They know what they're doing and they're pacing themselves. Detroit's a team that really has a little bit more energy. They want to try and get things ready in the here and now to prove that they're a quality team that can make a playoff run. So I think this is a good contrast of styles here in the sense of where these two teams stand right now.
DeBrincat, Larkin for Detroit, Malkin, Crosby for Pittsburgh. Shots on goal over, goal prop, assist prop. I think if you take those props on those four guys, Larkin, DeBrincat for Detroit, who are red hot to start the year, Crosby, Malkin, who are red hot to start the year, I think those are good options right there. Absolutely. So those are the four that I would absolutely target tonight as far as offensive production. Shots on goal, goals, assist props, Larkin, DeBrincat for Detroit. And DeBrincat, by the way, every time, especially when they play in Detroit, that guy's going to be jumping out of his skates to score. I think he is loving playing for the Red Wings. Why not? He's a Michigan guy. No doubt about that. And then Pittsburgh, like I say, Crosby and Malkin, they've had great starts. Throw in maybe a little Brian Rust because he's had 3 goals in 3 games. And those would be the ones you would really, really look and focus on for player props here in this game tonight. Just wanted to post the comment here. Chris Otto, longtime Ice Guys viewer and listener, and someone we've had on our betcasts before, who's done just a terrific work for years now with his period by period totals charts, including, of course, the famous first period totals. His first set of data, because he lets the first couple weeks of the season play out before he posts his chart for the first time. He will have his first period data unleashed for the first time next Monday, October the 23rd. So get ready for that. Perfect timing, the eve of our first betcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And just want to make a note, too, that those will all be available. Of course, follow Chris on X at PSU Auto, but definitely those will also be available in full. These are fairly lengthy. They're in kind of a chart form, so they're easy to read, but we will have those posted on our Patreon page, so patreon.com/IceGuys.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you check those out for sure. We will make sure we get those posted on the Patreon page, just like we have the last, I think, couple of seasons now. Again, they're terrific charts, and they are well worth looking at. And Lucas Raymond, let me throw him into the mix too. Didn't mention him, but Rustin for Pittsburgh and Raymond for Detroit, they would be the ones I would consider as well. And if you do you could do point for Raymond at plus 100, or you can do the goal assist split, where the goal prop for Raymond is plus 340 at Caesars, and the assist prop is plus 185 at Pinnacle. So, and this is a guy with 2 points in the first 3 games for the Detroit Red Wings. And someone that I think is, I said this in our season preview show, Alex, I said bounce back year for Lucas Raymond for the Detroit Red Wings. And I've got him 20 plus goals at a nice plus price that I bet before the season. So I expect good things and much better season out of Lucas Raymond, a first-round pick, of course, of the Detroit Red Wings. And as I said, Jari and Husso is your goaltending matchup here in this game tonight. All right, great stuff. Like I said, short card on a Wednesday. Shout out to everyone in the chat, 226 live viewers. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And a reminder as well that the Ice Guys family plan, it's been incredible, the response. We're almost at 50 members already. And including a new one here before the show, or during the show, Adam Fitzgerald. Welcome to the Ice Guys family plan. We appreciate you joining us and becoming a member. Thank you very much for your support. Again, it's going to be the daily player props betting card on the community tab for Ice Guys family plan members. We're going to have our video and exclusive content coming soon as well. We're going to have a lot of that, especially later in the year when it comes to Beyond Football. But I'm going to start rolling out some bonus video content, and Alex and I will find some time, at least before the end of October. We'll do maybe a themed show exclusive to not only Patreon page, but the family plan members on YouTube as well. Yeah. We'll do some kind of Q&A or some kind of themed discussion, maybe not necessarily about betting, but something a little different, which we've done in the past. So that kind of content, we might have a bonus show every now and then. We'll definitely have some bonus betcasts throughout the season that will be extra in addition to the monthly betcast that we have from October to January, and extra as far as the weekly betcast that we'll have from February to the end of the season. Like come playoff time, guaranteed we'll have the one betcast every week. That'll be public, free to everybody. But then we might later in the week, we'll throw out a shorter betcast and only for Ice Guys family plan members.
Yeah.
And another thing too about the family plan regarding the betcasts, if you're a family plan member, you're you asking me if you're a family plan member to join the betcast, you're going to get first consideration, for joining us on these betcasts as well. So like I say, if we're tight for, finding capacity, if we're up to capacity on some of these betcasts, we're more than likely going to say, hey, family plan member, we'll bring you onto the betcast here, and someone that maybe isn't that wants to get on the betcast. Yeah. Sorry. But that kind of thing. So that is another perk, if you will, to become a family plan member. And like I say, we're going to have all kinds of hockey related info content, the daily wagers that we have, Alex and I, live wagers, of course, and Alex has been doing a great job with those in particular. So all of that and more, it's just $9.99 US per month. The Ice Guys Family Plan YouTube channel membership. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I know some people have still had trouble trying to sign in. Fortunately, the iOS YouTube app does not allow the join button at this time. So if you do have an Apple device, we recommend that you try to use another browser. Just download a browser and go to the YouTube page, sign up through there, and that should be fairly easy. If you have any other questions or concerns, you can find one of us on X, him at Babano, me at AX Smith Sports, and we can try to help you along as much as possible. Also, those of you who are already family plan members, I'm sure you've seen the links already. We've got the new toques that are out. We got the Skinner t-shirts out. So those will be available to everybody Thursday. But if you're a family plan member, you've already got the link. You can go ahead and order that right now and get that process rolling. I know a couple of hat orders have already come in as well. So just really excited for that. And here we are. We're looking at the Ice Guys page. Yeah, Ian, take it away.
All right, there we go. See the little cursor I use on the computer is sticking, so it takes me longer than it should for the unmute button to kick in. But there you see it, and I'll see if I can actually get the font a little bit bigger. I usually try to zoom in, so it makes it, for those of you that are, if you're listening on the podcast, you can't see it, but if you're watching, I want to make sure you see it. This is the Ice Guys bargain bin this year. So as obviously 6 and 8, which, when you're taking shots, that's still a very good percentage, 42.8%, 6 and 8 with the bargain bin specials this year, but already up 34.7 units of profit with the bargain bin. I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible. I mean, we've hit a plus 800 Draisaitl first goal on Saturday with Alex. I had a Matthew Phillips, of course, for Washington. On Monday night, we had Donato on the first night of the season for Chicago that I had.
Jimmy had the 10-1 on Dumba.
Dumba, that's right. That's part of the mix. Shout out to Jimmy Murphy for that. I mean, my goodness. I mean, and that is just remarkable that we've had this kind of, and I said this had the chance to be a fun segment, an entertaining segment. I didn't think it was going to be this successful, though, as far as the actual plays that would make up the bargain bin special segment. I mean, this has just been a wonderful start, and we can afford to lose like a ton in a row now. It's going to take us forever to get to the point where we're break even or we're negative on the season, because basically we just make it, straight same amount bet with every recommendation we give out on the bargain bin special of the night. So it's been just a crazy start with the Ice Guys bargain bin special. No question about that. And we are going to obviously try to keep it going. And it's a good segue into, I just wanted to show, though, the Skinner shirts. There we go. For those of you looking at what they look like. So there you go. Skinner! There you go. You can have my voice in your head when you're wearing it. Yeah.
Yeah, we picked, of course, the colors of, for Jeff Skinner's team and Stuart Skinner's team. So that's with the color schemes. We might throw in a little red and black alternate possibly down the road for Jeff's team. So stay tuned for that. But like I said, and then I think the hats on there too. The hats might only be for the family plan members. I think the full post for the hats, those will be going tomorrow. And all this will be on our personal accounts, on the Ice Guys X account as well. And like I said, you'll be able to find it on the family plan. You'll be able to find it on the Linktree page. You see, it'll be new Ice Guys limited edition merch. So every link that we have and spot we have, you'll be able to find where to buy the merch from both stores.
Yeah, just exactly. And I think down the road at some point too, we did talk about this, Alex and I, a long time ago. We'll eventually get it, but we'll get a shirt in as far as the can't find him with a telescope on the ice. We'll get around to that too.
Yeah, we got a few designs in the works. So
yeah, definitely. That's one of the sayings that I know a lot of people love. So there you go. All that and more. So lots of stuff here. Merch, the family plan, a lot of extra content. So all that and more. And thanks for the support, whichever way it is, whether it's buying something from the store, whether it's subscribing to the Ice Guys family plan or subscribing to the Patreon page, or hell, just hitting the like button and subscribing to the YouTube channel, which is now almost at 4,100 subscribers. And tell everyone you know that loves hockey, by the way, and especially has any sort of interest in betting about the show. And we want to bring as many. We want this family to be the population of Toronto. At some point, that would be something else. If we could have 1 million people. And what's funny is actually the channel is closing in on 1 million views. Now that's not 1 million different individual people watching, but just 1 million people, and a lot of them probably the same people, but 1 million eyeballs almost on this channel now.
Nice,
from the beginning. So that's definitely very, very good to see, and we appreciate that, everyone that tunes in and supports. All right, it's time for the segment that you know and love, Bargain Bin Special of the Night. The one thing about these smaller slates, like a 2-game NHL card like tonight, is we can really hone in, on some of the player props that, we kind of like the most. And really, it's a tighter selection. Sometimes it can be a tougher selection on a shorter card, but sometimes it can be you like it more picking from a smaller slate of games, because then the decision, should I use this guy over that guy, isn't as immense. You don't have as much to deliberate, between. You don't. I'm thinking of 5 or 6 different players for the Bargain Bin Special of the night when it's a 8 or 9 game NHL card. Here tonight, it's the choices, in my opinion, are much more fewer, and it makes it actually easier to select what you like as far as the Bargain Bin Special here is concerned on this small card. And for the Bargain Bin Special here for this game tonight with the Washington Capitals and the Ottawa Senators, I'm going to Matthew Joseph for the Ottawa Senators. Can't deny how well he's played, and neither can his head coach, DJ Smith, who has moved him up to the second line for this game tonight against Washington. He has 2 goals and 1 assist so far this season for the Ottawa Senators. He's been, and more importantly for our purposes with the goal prop, he has 2 goals in 3 games for Ottawa. He's playing on the second line for the Ottawa Senators tonight in this game with Ridley Gregg and Vladimir Tarasenko. It's been a very solid start for him up front. He's been in on the play. He's been going to the front of the net. He's been in the right spots to be able to score these goals. The head coach has noticed, as now he's given him a top 6 opportunity here in this game tonight. I expect Ottawa to be a Capitals team, so the opportunity for Matthew Joseph should be there. Again, off to a great start, now getting the bump up the lineup, 2 goals in his first 3 games, second line for this game tonight, and you can get him as high as plus 500 at FanDuel to score a goal tonight. So if this hits, this is going to be another nice little bankroll booster to add to the tote, if you will, on the overall season with the Bargain Bin Special of the night. So Matthew Joseph, Ottawa Senators, plus 500 to score a goal for my Bargain Bin Special of the night.
Nice. I got one in the same game, same team, different position. I'm going with Thomas Chabot to get a goal, plus 600. You mentioned about how, Washington, they're giving up shots ad nauseum. And I looked at the shot charts from both the Pittsburgh and Calgary games. A lot of shots coming from the point, especially in that Pens game. Obviously, it makes sense with a guy like Erik Karlsson. Well, Chabot's got a nice shot of his own, one of the better offensive defensemen, I should say, in the league at times. And he scored a couple of goals in some games against Washington. So I think, like I said, they're just going to be firing the puck. I think everybody's kind of live to get some quality looks in this contest. And so Shabbat at 600, I think that's worth a shot for him to get a goal in tonight.
All right, I love that value. That is for sure. Thomas Chabot to score a goal tonight for the Ottawa Senators. And yeah, plus 600 is what I'm seeing right now at FanDuel for Thomas Chabot to find the back of the net for the Ottawa Senators. All right, it's time for best bets. To wrap things up, Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet tonight?
Yeah, it's tough, but it's funny. I've made a change from now to where I was earlier in the show. Like I said, I'm just overthinking it. So I'm going with Ottawa in regulation. Minus 115 is available at Bet Online. Shop around and try to find a better price. I know Ian said he was able to find something as low as even money. So definitely look for the best thing. But yeah, this is just a mismatch. Washington's not that good of a team. And like I said, you take what you will from that win against Calgary, but that was just a bit of a back and forth battle and a tight spot. I think Ottawa's a better team here. Like I said, looking back at the history, things have shifted. Now Ottawa's won 3 of the last 4 meetings after getting boat raced year after year by Ovechkin and crew. So let's go with the Sens in regulation minus $1.15. That's my best bet tonight.
All right, there we go. Ottawa Senators in regulation for Alex B. Smith with his best bet for this Wednesday card. And it is anywhere right now, minus 110 to minus 115 with the Senators in regulation. And my best bet, it's also an Ottawa Senators bet, but it's the team total for this game against Washington. I'm going to rock with it. They have scored 5 goals in each of their 2 home games on this homestand against Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. 5 goals would certainly get the job done tonight. Ottawa Senators team total over 3.5, minus 116. That is going to be my best bet here for this Wednesday NHL card. All right, that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. We thank everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. And looking forward to our betcast next Tuesday. I've posted the YouTube link already for the betcast next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's never too early to start sending your requests in to join us for the betcast. DM on Twitter at Bobano or Alex at AX Smith Sports, and we will make sure we get you send you the link for the betcast and have you on the waiting list at the very least. Again, preferred first option, first preference to the family plan members, but definitely make sure you join us if you can next Tuesday for the betcast. And join us tomorrow. It's not only a huge Thursday show, but we're going to have Jordan Henry, a longtime pro hockey player, joining us tomorrow on the show to help us break down the Thursday card. Here's another one that in his retired life now is into betting a little bit. So it'll be fun to have Jordan Henry joining us tomorrow on the Thursday edition of the Ice Guys. So make sure you join us for that. Another great show in the books. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll be back with you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Ice Guys.